Welcome to part 2 of this crochet cow tutorial. If you haven't already watched part 1, then make sure to go do that, but otherwise let's get straight into it. So now we're going to do the ears. So you're going to grab your secondary colour and we're going to do a slip knot, but we're going to need to leave a bit of a tail for the slip knot, which will help when we're sewing the ears on. So now we're going to do 4 single crochets into the magic ring for the first round. And then for round 2, you're going to want to do 4 increases, which will take you up to 8 stitches. So once you've done that, we're going to want to leave a tail for sewing. And then we'll pull through to finish off. And then you're just going to grab your yarn needle and put the tail from the magic ring in your yarn needle, and we're just going to pull it through to the same point as the other yarn tail. And this will just make it easier to sew later. So now you're going to make another ear exactly like this. Once you have made your 2 ears, you're going to put those aside and we're going to move on to the snout. So you're going to grab your secondary colour yarn again, and we're going to do a slip knot. And then you are just going to chain 5. Now we are going to do 3 single crochets, so back into the chains. So we'll go back into all the chains except the first one, we'll just single crochet into each. And now we're going to do 3 single crochets into the first chain. So 3 single crochets all into the same chain. So 1, 2, on the third one we'll just bring the tail to the other side, and 3. So we've sort of turned the chain around now. We were like this and we've turned it around. And now we're going to do an increase into the next chain. And then we're going to do 3 single crochets, 1 into each of the following chains. Then we're going to increase. Then do 2 single crochets. And increase. And a single crochet to finish off. So this is what the snout should look like. And we're just going to leave a bit of a tail for sewing. And then we're going to pull through. And I'm just going to grab my yarn needle to fasten this off properly. And I'll just bring the tail into the front loop of the next stitch. And this is what it should look like when complete. So now we're going to put the snout aside and we're going to move on to the horns. So we're going to grab our toffee coloured yarn and we're going to begin by doing 4 single crochets into the magic ring. For round 2, we will do 4 increases, which will take us up to 8 stitches. Now for the final round, we will just single crochet all the way around. So now we're going to leave a bit of a tail for sewing. Then we'll pull through to finish off. And now you just need to make another horn exactly like this one so that we have two. Once you have two horns, we're going to put those aside. Now we can move on to the assembly. So the first two things we're going to sew together are the head and the snout. So we'll just be sewing the snout on between the eyes. And how we'll sew it on is we'll sew around. So grab your yarn needle and your tail. And I want my first point to be over here. So I'll go into there. And then I'm going to bring it up to the following stitch. And we're going to go into the next stitch of the snout and pull through. And then we're going to go back into the body. And we're just gonna continue working our way around. I'm just going to add a little bit of stuffing before I finish sewing. And then I've just brought the yarn tail to a random point in the body and I'll just cut it off. So this is what the snout looks like once it's sewed on. Now we're going to sew the ears on. So the ears are going to go on either side of the top of the head. The left ear will be at the bottom of the left patch and the right ear will mirror it on the other side. So to begin sewing, we'll just use the smaller tail from the magic ring to position the ear where we want it to be. And I'll just bring that tail back and then we will tie it together with the other tail later. Now we are just going to use the other tail to secure that properly there, and then we'll bring the tail to that point and tie them together and cut them off. Now we'll just poke that inside once we've tied the two tails together. And now we're just going to do the same thing with the right ear on the opposite side. Now we are going to sew the horns onto the head. So each horn will be positioned just behind, but slightly more towards the center than the ears. So yeah, we'll just sew those on so they're positioned like that. I'm just going to go ahead and bring the tail back here, and as I sew on the other horn on the opposite side, I will also bring the tail to the same point and tie them off. This is what the first horn looks like when sewed on. So now we're going to pop the head aside and we're going to sew the back legs on to the body. So the back legs will be positioned to go out like this, so on either side. So we're just going to sew them on each behind the front legs. And I'll just add a very small amount of stuffing first. So we'll go ahead and sew the back legs on right behind the front legs. So this is what it looks like when the first leg is sewed on. Now we'll just sew on the other leg on the other side, and we'll bring the tail to the same point as the first leg. So this is what the body looks like now. And the very last thing that we have to sew on is the head. So both the head and the body have 12 stitches, so you'll just need to line them up and then sew around. So we'll grab the yarn tail of the head, and it's right at the back of the head. So I'm just going to go to the back of the body, find the back stitch, and we're going to go across the 2 back stitches. So we're just going to line that up, and then we'll go back into the head and across a stitch, back into the body and across a stitch. Just want to make sure that the front of the cow's head is facing the front. So we'll just keep going around, ensuring that the front of the cow's head stays at the front of the body. Now, once you're done with that, just bring the tail up somewhere into the head and just cut the tail off. So this is the completed cow plushie. I hope that you enjoyed crocheting your cow. If you would like the written pattern, it is available on my Etsy in the link in the description. That way you can keep making the cow without having to watch this YouTube video. But otherwise, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!